Hello, and welcome to Cheers. That's one woman's opinion. I am your host, Carolyn Mills. And today we are doing the bonus episode of the pilot episode of the TV series called Kirstie. It lasted one season, 12 episodes. This episode first aired December 11th, 2013. It was directed by Andy Cadiff and written by Marco Penente. Cast Kirstie Alley as Maddie Banks. And Kirstie Alley passed away sadly December 5th, 2022 from colon cancer. Eric Peterson, Arlo Banks. Michael Richards as Frank Baxter, and Rhea Perlman as Thelma Katz. Guest cast Christopher McDonald as Jeffrey Shepard, Gilles Mariano as Michael, Sosha Rockmore, I think it's Rocombe, I'm not sure how to say it, as Tanya, Scott Adkison as male guest. He passed away in 2021, undisclosed cause, and Pam Trotter as a fan. In our summary, cold open. Maddie and others bow during a curtain call in a Broadway show. She calls Frank, her driver, and asks where he is because she is freezing. He says that he is stuck in traffic. She asks him if he's taking people on tour again. He denies it, but then we see people in the back and he keeps pointing out places that are in New York City. And the way he does it is really good because he acts like he's talking to her and he's like, no, I'm not. And he points like by whatever. And a young man comes up to Maddie. Maddie has dropped her phone and he tries to pick it up for her. She sprays him and explains he was not going, and he explains he was not going to steal the phone, just pick it up. He asks her if she's Madison Banks and explains that he is the kid she gave up for adoption 26 years ago. Maddie sprays him again. The Kirstie theme plays. It's an instrumental. I had to look up the name of it, and it's just called the Kirstie theme. Maddie returns home. Thelma, Maddie's personal assistant, is in the apartment. In a later episode, because I actually rewatched the entire series since there's only 12 episodes, in a later episode, we learned that she actually lives there. Maddie introduces Arlo to Thelma. Thelma thinks Maddie was bringing home a date. Sorry, long day. Where am I? Okay. Thelma thinks Maddie was bringing home a date. Maddie sends Arlo to the kitchen and says her personal chef will make him anything that he wants to eat. Arlo's quite impressed actually at this point. He says that Maddie has a driver, a personal assistant, and a chef, and calls her the White Oprah. Frank comes in and tells Thelma the kid that came up with her came out of her. Thelma is shocked that Arlo's the baby Maddie gave up for adoption. Frank is upset that Thelma knew, but Maddie never told him she gave a baby up for adoption. She explains that they have a professional relationship, her and Frank. He says, I get you out of your Spanx every night in that car. Michael, the chef, comes out of the kitchen. He says that Arlo told him he is the kid Maddie gave up for adoption. Maddie tells Thelma she is hyperventilating. She wants a drink to help her nerves. She suggests that Arlo may not be her son. Frank tells her, he's got your boobs. Thelma tells them to calm down so they can figure things out. Frank says, we're going to kill him. Thelma says, why would you say that? And Frank explains that he used to drive for 50 Cent. And he knows how this movie goes. Thelma asks Arlo if he is looking for a quick payday. Arlo says he understands they want proof. He hands them the papers. He explains that his mother passed away last month and he found them and just learned he was adopted. Thelma and Maddie excuse themselves. Frank lights up a joint and tells Arlo it's medicinal. He adds, I'm half blind. Thelma and Maddie are outside on the terrace. Thelma says the papers look legit. Maddie says it can't be him. Look at me. I'm pretty. I love Maddie's character. She is so shallow. Can't think of the word. She is so shallow. So well done. She's kind of like the Sam Malone version of her show. Thelma says the papers look legit. Oh, I already read that. Sorry, I'm around pretty. Um, Maddie says, can't be him. Look at me, I'm pretty. She points out that her baby had a very specific birthmark. Thelma asks where it is. We then see them all on the couch with Arlo showing his butt to them. Maddie concurs he is her biological son. Such a great scene, just watching him moon everyone from the couch. Arlo can't get over Maddie being his biological mother. He tells her he has something for her. Maddie picks up Thelma and says Arlo has a gun and wants revenge. So at first I thought she was moving because she said he has a gun. I thought, okay, she's nice, she's moving Thelma out of the way. No, she's actually using Thelma as a shield. Arlo explains he made her a gift. He hands it to her and yells, boo. Maddie screams. Thelma says, he's twisted. I like him. Maddie says she'll open the envelope later. Arlo asks if she is into Civil War reenactments because he does them every month. Maddie says she's not sure what he wants and asks if he has any questions. Arlo asks, why did you give me up? Nothing like hitting with a zinger right off the bat. Thelma tells her, at least he didn't ask for a kidney. Arlo asked her if she got pregnant in high school, decided she was too young, and with tears in her eyes made the toughest decision in her life. Maddie explains that she was 24 and got the lead in Cat on the Hot Tin Roof and wanted to be a star. Then she adds, but with tears in my eyes, I made the toughest decision of my life. They have made Maddie about as shallow and just shallow as you possibly can get. She thinks only of herself, um, but yet you can't help but like her, which is a testament to Kirstie Alley's acting, of course. Arlo then asks about his father. She says that could be any number of guys from Jesus Christ Superstar, but then she clarifies there were only 12 apostles. Thelma asks Arlo about his life. He says he works at the Glazed Hole. Maddie thinks it's a gay bar and says, the gay people love me. Arlo explains it's a donut shop. Thelma tells him the donuts love her too. Arlo tells her that not everyone is meant to be a star. She tells him when she started out, there were a lot of doors slammed in her face. Arlo's playing with the Tony Award and she takes it from him. She says she is going She says she is opening her 14th Broadway show and then adds, and I did not sleep with anyone for the last 5. I will ask if he can go to her show. Then he invites her to Newark, New Jersey to see him for the Battle of Chancellorsville. He also wants to go on Family Feud. Um so the whole part with Maddie, I was gonna say Thelma, making the comment she didn't sleep with anybody for the last 5. It's not only is she shallow, she's very much like Sam Malone because she's also sleeps around. And that comment is referring to the fact that she got her start because she was having sex with the director, casting person, somebody in the show. And that was for the first 8. Wait, how would I say she did? 14. Sorry, last first 9. Maddie says she's going to be busy, but they can keep in touch. She says, if you have any more questions for me, here's my autobiography, which is about as cold as you can get telling your own kid, here, if you want to know about me, just read my book. Maddie says, oops. Arlo leaves and Thelma tells Maddie she is treating Arlo like a fan, not like her kid, which is very true. Maddie explains the day she turned him in over to the social worker. She thought about keeping him, but then she didn't. She says, I'm not a mother. Maddie has a formal party at her house, and Arlo shows up. Maddie shuts the door in his face. Thelma says Arlo is a diamond in the rough. She tells Maddie to open the door. Maddie goes out and asks Arlo how he got past the two doormen and security camera. Arlo explains that he forgot his backpack. He tells her, I like your hair. You'll see the hair in a minute. It's actually behind me. I like your hair. You look just like Marge Simpson. He asks her if she's having a party. Maddie denies it. A man comes out and tells her that was a great party. Arlo goes in excited to meet Maddie's friends. Maddie tells Frank that Arlo is here. Frank stage whispers to her, I can still kill him. Arlo is enjoying the caviar, which he calls little tiny beans. Maddie leads him to the kitchen. Jeffrey Shepard introduces himself to Arlo. He asks him how he knows Maddie. Maddie says he's my. Ben points and says, is that a is that fat girl drunk over there?" Arlo suspects Maddie does not want him there, but she says that he's just not dressed properly for the occasion and hands him a red jacket. This is the red jacket that's being referred to here in the picture. Um, you can see it right there. And I lost my place. Red jacket. Right. Arlo realizes she gave him a waiter's jacket and she's embarrassed by him. He tells her maybe we should just go back to not knowing each other. Arlo leaves. Thelma, Frank, and Michael look at Maddie disappointedly. Maddie says he wanted to leave and he had $2,000 worth of caviar in his belly. But she knows. The next day, Maddie goes to the glazed hole. Tanya is playing on her phone. Maddie tries to get her attention, but Tanya does not respond. Maddie tries again. Tanya responds, I hear you. I'm just not ready yet. I can't imagine somebody keeping their job. I'm not sure. She seems to be. I'm gonna put a quick thought here. Tanya seems to be. I don't know if she's the owner or just the manager, but she seems to be more in charge. So I'm thinking maybe she might be the manager of the glazed hole. But I can't imagine keeping a job when you act like that. Literally just texting and I'm sure people do it today. Just texting on your phone and actually say to the person, "Sorry, I'm not ready." Bad enough to even be on your phone at a workplace. Um, but then to not only be on it, but to tell the person, "Sorry, wait, I'm not ready" because you're busy texting. So amazing she actually has a job. Okay, I found my place. Arlo comes from the back of the shop and sees Maddie. She explains that she feels terrible about last night and drove out to apologize. He points out that Frank drove. She agrees, but explains, my seat warmer was broken, so I couldn't sleep comfortably. For those of you who are not from the East Coast, um, I don't know the exact distance, but New York is right next to New Jersey and it's right by the city. So it doesn't take too long to get there. However, I'm not sure how far where he lives is compared to the city. And I'm thinking since I'm not sure if it tells, Broadway would be in Manhattan, but there are five boroughs in New York. There's Queens, Staten Island, Brooklyn, the Bronx, and Manhattan. I'm not sure if she lives right in Manhattan. I'm thinking she does because she seems to have a lot of money. And then he lives in New Jersey, at least in this episode. He later will move in with her in future episodes. By the way, if you would like to see this series and have not seen it yet, it's actually on YouTube, the entire series. Just type in Kirstie, Kirstie, if you don't know how to spell it. And you can watch the whole thing right on YouTube. Again, only 12 episodes. Maddie thanks Arlo for the gift. It was a Mother's Day card he gave her. She explains that she never got a Mother's Day card. nor has she ever given one. Arlo says he doesn't have time for this since he is working. Tanya says, that grease isn't going to skim itself, lard ass. Maddie tells him not to talk to Arlo like that because Arlo is her. Again, she cannot bring herself to say son. Arlo is angry that she cannot even say the word and tells her, just go. Tanya says she doesn't blame Maddie for giving Arlo up and calls him pitiful. Maddie goes behind the counter with a donut and smears the frosting on Tanya's face. The women fight and Arlo comes out asking what's going on. Maddie says she's standing up for him. Arlo accuses her of playing mother when it's convenient for her. He upset he is upset she wouldn't his tell her friends who he was. He tells her, you're just this rich snob who's so lonely she has to pay her employees to be her friends because she has no one in her life. He tells her that she could have had someone but rejected him. Maddie tells Thelma that Thelma is so good to her. She asks Thelma if they are friends or does she only do things for Maddie because Maddie pays her. Thelma says both. And that kind of makes sense. I mean, I've had employers who were my bosses. My employers, my bosses, that makes sense. I've had employers who are my friends. So there are certain things you're doing it because you're told to and you work and you have to. And then there are things you do just because you're friends. So that line does make sense. She asks Maddie where this is coming from and tells her to pull it together because it's opening night. Maddie explains that she wanted another chance with Arlo and she will never see him again. She learns that Thelma got him to come to the show. Thelma explains Arlo had not given up on Maddie yet because Arlo is not the only diamond in the rough. Every time I read the word diamond in the rough, I hear the guy from Aladdin. Maddie does her play. During the show, the others ask if she has any. I'll try it again. During the show, the other actor asks if she has anything to report. Maddie breaks character to answer. 26 years ago, I gave up something, and I think about that loss every single day. She starts speaking directly to Arla, who is in a box seat. She explains that she is not a good mother yet, but she wants to try, and for now, she just wants to be good friends. Arlo agrees to being good friends. The other actor asks, who is that? Maddie points to Arlo and says, that is my son. Arlo goes to Maddie's dressing room. That's actually a very beautiful scene. Not really the right time to do it, of course, in the middle of a play, but it's very beautiful how she does that. Arlo goes to Maddie's dressing room and hugs her. He says that he can feel her heartbeat. Maddie tells him, and I can feel your back sweating. And that's okay. He continues to hug her and she says, and now it's not. Earlier in the episode, Arlo, when he first arrives, explains that his hand is sweaty when I think it's Thelma shakes his hand, and he explains when he gets nervous he sweats a lot, and then he says that she wouldn't want to touch his back. Wait, that's the worst part for the sweat. So that's what that's in reference to. Arlo says that he quit his job because he believes he is meant for better things. Maddie agrees, but Arlo says he doesn't know what. Arlo Maddie says she's going to make him her project, and she adds she's even going to finish him. Thelma, Michael, and Frank come in. Thelma announces they have early reviews. They have cell phones, which I'm about to say because next line is look at the cell phones. Um, this was 2013, so it's only about what year are we in? Little over about 13 years ago. So it's like 13 years ago. And I've had my cell phone since the 2000, early 2000s when I was in college. I graduated 2003 from SUNY Cortland. I didn't know that the reviews came out quite that fast. Like she just left the stage and there's already all these reviews. But I never knew that. And I gotta assume it's pretty accurate. I mean, I know it's a TV show, but things do kind of come out fast. I just never thought about it. So they all look at their cell phones. Frank tells her, Theater Mania calls you bigger and harder than ever. They all look confused. Frank apologizes and explains, I got a pop up Viagra ad. The New York Times calls the show frothy and delicious. Maddie cheers because they got away with it. Thelma says, You're a big fat hit. The others head out. Thelma and Maddie are last in the room. Maddie tells Thelma that she is going to be on the cover of People magazine. And then she adds, Suck it, Angelina Jolie. And that was the episode. I thought this was a really good pilot. I forgot to give it a beer nut rating. I would probably give it a 4.5 out of 5. I really loved I really loved the show. And I was actually disappointed. I remember when it came out. I was very disappointed it only lasted for 18 episodes. I have a theory, however, and I don't know if this is true. Um, I know it got canceled from what I have heard. It got canceled officially because the ratings were not high enough to keep it going. I, however, have a theory. The reason the ratings were not higher is because Michael Richards was in the cast, which is actually why we're doing this bonus episode because we just did Barbet. And then Rhea and Kirstie, of course, being Cheers cast members. Um, that was in 2006 when the incident with Michael Richards happened, where he was making racial remarks. When he so what happened is he was doing a comedy show. Someone started heckling him. He lost his temper big time and started making racial remarks at this person. He did apologize later, but it was believed to not be a sincere apology. It was more of a, oh crap, I'm in trouble, better say sorry to make myself look good. So that's what happened. That was 2006. Um, his career's pretty much over. He does seem to appear periodically, but it's not like he was when he was Kramer, or even, yeah, he pretty much ruined his career. And I think a lot of people did not want to see this show, perhaps because of him. However, I'm pretty good at separating actor from character. And the reality is, a lot of actors do dumb things. A lot of people do dumb things. Um, there's some I'm more less likely to want to see than others. However, it depends on the situation, honestly. But I like the show, and obviously, I don't agree with what Michael Richards did, but he happens to be one character on this show. It's not like it's just his own show, and that I probably would not watch it. But I love Kirstie Alley. Rhea Perlman's great. The whole cast was really good, actually. And Michael Richards actually does do a good job. He's got a very funny character in Frank, but I think that's probably the big reason. That's just my theory. Can't prove it. But I was sad they only made 12 episodes. The MVP, of course, I gave it to Kirstie Alley. Phenomenal job playing Maddie, as I said. The Sam Malone female equivalent right there. It's too bad they never had Ted Danson on the show. They did have George Wendt. He's in a later episode. And incidentally, they also had Jason Alexander, who worked with Michael Richards on Seinfeld. And they had John Travolta, who worked with Kirstie on the Look Who's Talking trilogy. So best dress, let me move out of the way here, is Maddie. This is her party dress. Really love the dress. And this is the hair that I was referring to earlier. I said we're gonna see it. It's what he said, it looks like Marge Simpson. So there it is. Our Grand Slam line between Maddie and Thelma. When Maddie's all stressed out and hyperventilating. She says, Thelma, do that thing you do to calm me down. What thing? You know, with the glass and the alcohol. On baseline, Arlo and Maddie. Arlo says, I got lost and ended up in the workout room. I have a workout room? Here's a little known fact. While her character was a Broadway star, Kirstie Alley never appeared on Broadway. However, Rhea Perlman appeared in The Allergist's Wife, and Eric Peterson has been in 4 Broadway shows so far, including Shrek the Musical. If you like this episode, as always, like, click. So I gotta take off the thing. Uh, like, click, click like. There you go. The comments, all that jazz. And of course, you can join us on Facebook group. Cheers, that's one woman's opinion. There you go. Now it's easier to see. Instagram, Cheers, One Woman's Opinion Podcast. Follow us on Twitter X at One Woman Opinion. As always, no S. The Reddit group thing, Cheers Rewatch Podcast. And you can email us at Cheers One Woman's Opinion Podcast at gmail.com. And Thursday, reminder, we'll be watching Cheers Season 3, Episode 20. If ever I would leave you. And that's One Woman's Opinion.